what has happened to East Palestine, an area, it's just not East Palestine, it's surrounding areas that have been affected. Terry, tell us what brought you here today and what some of your concerns are.
First, I'd answer the second question. My concern is let's do right by East Palestine. And that's what brought me here was I wanted to support the people here. Because East Palestine today, another town tomorrow. So that's what brought me. And
so when this whole thing went down, and you're about 2 hours west, and a lot of people were concerned about the wind, water, downstream, upstream. Any concern about your area and your residents being affected by this spill?
Spill-wise from west of here, we weren't going to be affected. That was heading east into Pennsylvania. Initial thoughts I had were that water eventually is going to make it to the Ohio River, which is going to continue to flow on into Kentucky, on into eventually the Mississippi. So I saw the potential of many, many communities, many states being ultimately impacted by this.
And that's what drove you out to see us today?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, let's get to Maggie. Say your last name again.
Guglielmo.
Guglielmo, Maggie Guglielmo. Now you're a business owner, and you're about 56 miles away.
0.56.
What?
0.56 miles.
0.56. Okay, I saw that wrong. So you're basically a half a mile from what happened. Tell us what business you own and what went down.
My business is Wristbands America. We're 100% made in the USA silicone wristbands, and I'm 0.56 miles from Ground Zero. At Ground Zero, there's a small stream that runs by.
Now, when you say Ground Zero, that's the spill?
Yes, sir. There's a small stream that runs by. It's called Sulphur Run, and it runs directly underneath the plaza where my shop is. Through a culvert, and the smell is still in my shop right now, almost 8 weeks later. It was really bad initially. The first time that I went into the shop was a couple of days afterwards, right before they had the mandatory evacuation, just so that I could make sure everything was secure and get a few things out that I needed to get. And my eyes were watering and my throat choked up. I didn't go back in until the following Saturday, and it was still bad, and I can't get rid of all the smell in there.
So have you talked to the authorities? Has anybody given you any relief, any advice, medical or otherwise?
Medical, I don't have any issues. I live about 5 miles out, so fortunately my family is okay. I've been in my shop a couple of hours at a time trying to clean everything up. My main concern with the business is that my wristbands are contaminated. No one can tell me whether or not they can be cleaned. I've contacted numerous colleges and numerous labs trying to find out how my wristbands can be cleaned, whether or not they can be, but my concern is if someone wears them and they're sensitive, they might break out, or a kid puts it in its mouth.
This is an example of one of your business,
yes, sir.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you've got all these in stock, you got the inventory, and you can't sell them because you're concerned about a health risk.
Yes.
Contamination risk.
Yes. Once they're decorated, they're put into a box and packaged and shipped out. What happens if the customer opens them and they smell? They're not going to want them.
So Maggie, we had Pete Buttigieg here. He did a photo op one day. That was about it. Have you gotten any contact from anybody about what may be contaminated, what may not be contaminated, what to do, what not to do?
I've been given a few suggestions on how to possibly clean them, but nobody can tell me for 100% certainty whether or not they can be completely cleaned.
What about the air and the smell in your place of business? Has anybody said, hey, we're going to come in and figure this out, or is it just basically you're screw you, you're on your own?
There was C-Tech that came in and did a little handheld monitor test, air test. It was supposed to take 30 to 45 minutes. And when they came in with their monitor, I told them, you're more than welcome to go in there. I'll go in, turn the lights on. I'm coming back out. You can come out when you're done. They were supposed to be, like I said, be in there 30 to 45 minutes. They were in there less than 10 minutes. They came out. They said everything was fine, but the smell was overpowering. They couldn't stay in there.